Need some paper. Do anybody have like a piece of paper or something? Old wrapper. I need to like get rid of this gum because I don't know how to chew gum.
Oh, my bad. Oh, I'm sorry. Go here now.
Click this. Go
Okay.
live. That's it. Just say go live anyway.
Okay.
All right. And that's it. Go back to the screen.
Whew.
All right, so
Okay.
y'all live, and when you're ready, just hit the shot. Y'all on.
I'm on.
It's
Yeah.
on.
All right.
All right.
All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
What's up, everyone? This is
Oh, we don't have no intro.
y'all
just go straight to it.
We here, baby.
Right to it.
Listen, we've been going for a while, so we were anxious to get back
Yes.
to you. And this is Let's Talk About It. I'm Wonder.
I'm Miss E.
And it's Dean Geronimo. Give us a call at 646-233-1302.
Yeah, so listen, let's start it off. Shout out to Black Ops. He couldn't make it this evening, but we want to shout him out. We
Black
certainly
Ops.
miss
How
him.
you doing?
And
Black
in the
Ops.
tradition of Black Ops, I want to start off with Miss E and ask you how was your day? How was your week?
Oh,
What's going on?
It's good. It was good. My week is pretty good.
Yeah?
Yes, it's pretty good.
What you do?
Kinda
What you get
busy.
into?
Yeah, not much, but it's pretty good.
Okay. Okay. All right.
He said,
Not
what
much,
did
but it's
you
pretty
get
good. Like, you know
into?
what? You wake up, you feel good. You know, I know I was saying like a little bit earlier, I said I didn't feel, I was feeling a little old. I definitely don't feel old. It's just like,
I know what you
you
mean.
like walk
I knew what
past
you
the
meant.
mirror.
You
You like
know
look
what
at
you
yourself in the
meant.
mirror, and you like,
Yep.
things don't look like it used to look, maybe a little bit, you know, a little more gray hair, you know, you like,
It's
oh,
all good. Hey, listen.
Okay, what's
Listen,
these fine
man.
lines? And,
You know what? You know what? I hate to say this because it's not to feel good off of somebody else's hardship, but I know people that are a lot younger than me, a lot younger than us.
Right.
Doing bad right now.
They look horrible.
I know they
You
look
know,
bad. I
so-
know.
Living their
I think we
worst
look
life
great, but
out
you know
of
what?
here.
So for what it's worth,
No,
you know,
I know, but it's like, are you in your bubble or like, what do you know? It's
Right.
just that's it, you know, and but you know, it's such is life, and I think it's. We always say like it's a blessing to get old to like really
That's
notice
right.
it, and then
That's
you're
right.
like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
it's all right. But you know
True.
what it is, because truth be
Yeah.
told, some of us and we all, you know, have peeps that just didn't make it
That's
either.
right.
You
Right.
know, so it is
That's
a
right.
blessing.
Hey,
I'm
listen.
glad to be in the service one more
That's
time.
land and living one more
One
time.
more again, huh?
So good to see you.
Thank you,
All
thank
right.
you as well.
And let me turn it over here to my left to my good brother
Yes,
D.
sir.
Geronimo. How
Yes,
you doing,
sir.
bro?
Still hanging on like an old loose too. You know, I don't complain because
right.
if I'm not doing all right, nobody else is.
All right.
Wanted to first, though, before we really get to talking today, 3 years ago, my granddaughter was born. So
All right.
happy birthday to Princess Jordan Madison.
Aw.
All right.
Happy birthday, baby.
Yes.
And you know what? I see you wearing that
Who's that
jersey
audience
over
clap?
there.
Oh,
Oh, wait.
Yeah,
I'm
we
sorry.
get the
I'm
audience-
late. Let's do it
Can two
again.
get audience
Let's do
clap?
it
There we
again.
go, right there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What'd you say about my jersey? Man?
Huh?
What you say?
I was just, I'm gonna do the double clap. I'm just saying, I see you like the jersey on.
Yeah.
I see.
It's
You-
gonna be
y'all the
Ravens
only
time
team
in
with the
about
winning
an
record up
hour
here.
and 20 minutes. We're gonna see what's gonna happen. Hopefully they'll start RG3 first,
Okay.
and that's just we're at the end of the season.
Yeah,
So
exactly. It don't make no
go
sense,
ahead,
right?
let him do his thing,
Mhm.
and then bring Lamar on in, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
It's
no,
New
I
York
see y'all
tonight,
doing-
so
yeah.
Be down at M&T Bank
I see the
Stadium.
Ravens
Should be
trying to
easy
do
work for
something.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Should be
it
easy
should
work.
be. But you know what? Don't
Any
discount
game,
those games, right?
right. Any
Because
game will
sometimes it's
change.
like those teams, like my team, they can play spoiler. You know what I mean? Like they have, they're like, hey, what we got to lose?
Yeah.
So,
So, well, listen. This is This is a free fall.
It's a free fall?
We really don't have a set a template to go off of and speak to, but
Right.
I think that there have been enough current events that have
my
taken
God,
place
yes.
Yeah.
that should give us enough to talk about. I wanted to speak on that shooting in Jersey
Yeah,
City,
yeah.
and I just
That's
want to add
horrible.
my
My
two cents.
God.
Not enough information, obviously, it hasn't, there's not a lot that has come out. But one thing that concerns me is, me, no wonder. I'm looking for those conspiracies. But one thing I didn't like that worries me is how the media is already creating a narrative that we don't necessarily know how true it is, how authentic it is,
Right.
and they're using a broad brush. And what I mean by that is this. I watched a news clipping today, as a matter of fact, and they just categorized it as this person once belonged to a black Hebrew Israelite group. And then they mentioned how the black Hebrew Israelites are on the federal hate list, this hate list group.
The Southern Poverty Law
Southern
Center.
Poverty, yeah.
Right.
Southern Poverty Law Center.
So, but here's the thing. First of all, there are hundreds of Hebrew Israelite camps that are predominantly black folks, right? And in each of those individual camps, they have, even though they practice they may practice the basic tenets of Judaism, meaning the actual more of the worship side.
Okay.
But rhetoric in terms of ideology and how it applies to social issues, it varies from the absolute docile to the absolute extreme. Every religion has its own sects where you have
True.
those who are very moderate, very light, they go very light, and then you have those who are to the far right extreme. But for some reason, they're not really defining or breaking any of that down. They're just putting this broad brush of this black Hebrew Israelite. And there are some Hebrew Israelite camps that don't even look at themselves as being black.
Right.
But they see themselves as a people, as a community, as being Hebrews, not even black.
Okay.
And then the other piece was in this news clip, they said, and they looked at this person who allegedly used to belong to this Hebrew Israelite camp, and he spoke a lot of anti-Semitic. He made a lot of anti-Semitic remarks within his social media pages.
Okay.
Well, he claims that he was a Hebrew Israelite.
Okay.
So how can you be anti-Semitic when you are claiming that you are Semitic?
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
So-
it sounds
so-
like someone's maybe confused.
So that's like me saying, that's like me doing something crazy and then saying something hateful against black people, and then I could see them saying anti-black or whatever, but when you say anti-Semitic, the thing is, and I don't want to get deep into what is Semitic is,
Right.
because there's even debate about who are the real Semites.
Right.
So it's just, there's a lot of wording in the narrative of, and they're making it, they're clear that these people came after people of the quote unquote Jewish community. Now, I don't know if that's how true that is. I'm not denying anything because I don't have all the facts. But what I am saying is that if you listen carefully and if you know anything about the Hebrew Israelite community, I just don't like how they're making this one broad brush and they're painting this narrative that is a representation of the Hebrew Israelite community. And when you think of Hebrew Israelites, for most people, you're
Well, you
thinking
think-
about
when you're saying the black Hebrew Israelite community, not as a whole.
Right.
Right.
But even still, like, for example, in for my congregation, we don't call ourselves black Hebrew Israelites.
Right.
Okay.
We're Hebrews.
Right.
We practice Judaism. We or Hebrew Israelite, but black Hebrew Israelite. Many of us don't even say that.
No.
We don't
I
even
know,
we don't even
listen,
call
I know,
ourselves.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
You know
yeah,
I know.
you know.
Right. You know I know.
So
right.
it's like, again, the wording, And so what I'm hoping that people from those camps will step up. Norm and I were talking earlier, and he said they did have some kind of a interfaith type of conference
Right.
that they held, and he said he just based on looking at certain people, it looked like some of them from that community were there, and they were talking about what their true intentions are. But I think they really need to be more outspoken and be clear. People need to step up and really, make it clear of who they are and correct some of this stuff that the media
the
is pointing.
misinformation.
Yeah, because
right.
so yeah, it's interesting. But I mean, let's keep an eye on it. It was tragic, no doubt.
Yeah, it was very
tragic.
I mean, just even before before they even like knew what was going on, before they even tried to tag somebody, with this crime, the fact that this happened in Jersey City was because I didn't know what was going on at first, and they were like a shooting, and they were like, it's a shootout. It's a shootout in the streets of Jersey City is a little bit crazy,
It's tight.
It is, right, and it's like if you've been to Jersey City, it is a very condensed area, and it's like they were moving people from their homes, and I'm like, moving them where? Like, where would you even begin to take people? I mean, I don't know how all that worked, but my thought, I guess, was I don't know, like these people, they went in the deli and shot up the deli, right? So I guess they were cornered in the deli, and that's where this shootout occurred, with the police shooting into the, I guess they were still in the deli. They were still like kind of contained in that deli. Well, then they were at the cemetery or something.
At the cemetery,
and then they went to the deli. So I guess like my thing was like, wow, is that how you handle that? Like, is that, does this turn into a shootout in the middle of the afternoon with a school across the street? I mean, it was just, I don't know. It was a little, I don't know. The whole thing was just like unsettling. And I know we talk about this kind of stuff, at work and really like everywhere where gun violence can just like break out, and we didn't talk about the next day, but come next week, I'm like, we're going to have to talk about this whole, active shooter kind of thing. Because we and I know, like, it's hard to do when you're in the moment, but it's like we gotta like think about like what is it that we would do if something like that happened. What if somebody came into the store? What if somebody really came into anywhere? Like, did a thought ever cross your mind when you go in the movie theater? Or you know what I mean? Like, it's like, this is Jersey.
We live in a day and age now where you have to
like,
start taking safety measures
right.
in places that you
wouldn't have never even have thought.
Yeah.
Like, I know in the past these things have happened like in places that were a little more far removed from us. But I'm like, Jersey City? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it's just...
That's chaotic.
Right. It's
because
chaotic.
People are living on top
right,
of each
exactly.
other.
And there's a lot of people in a little tight... Yeah.
Streets are tight.
And it's like, it's not like the streets are empty.
Right.
It's crazy because when they got out, we were, again, Norm and I were talking about this, when they got out, looking at the video, and the video I saw didn't have sound to it, but they immediately came out
with those guns, and they said they were like marching in the street, and I'm like, oh my God.
And you saw the people just scatter. And my thing is, okay, for people who are really going in there to do something and leaving themselves a window to get away,
you're not just going in there.
Would you tuck that, go in there and do your business, and then, you know what I'm saying? But it just, that looked strange. It just looked crazy.
It does look.
And one person ran out.
I agree. It looks strange, right?
One person ran out and they
the deli?
let him go. They let him go. So it's
and then the people
crazy.
on the street filming it, like, and then it was like I did see a video where like you could hear the gunfire, and it was just like, it sounded like a war zone. It sounded like something you would see on CNN International.
A whole lot of firepower.
Yeah, they had,
Yeah,
they had
it was
bombs,
crazy.
everything.
They had
I mean,
planned that.
Yeah.
You got the pipe bomb in the
Yeah, they had something in the
vehicle
car,
and
right?
everything.
I mean,
So
it was like, what
it
the
I don't know
wasn't
what they
world?
had at their disposal,
random.
but
It wasn't a random attack.
No, I don't think this
figured
was
out.
To have
random either. It wasn't
A
random.
gunfight with law
Yeah.
enforcement.
Yeah.
You
And you
probably
must have
had a
known
gun.
that was going to
Yeah,
happen.
you knew you were.
You
not
know, you
coming
must
out
have
of
known that was going to happen. And it's really sad. The whole thing is
it.
sad.
And they said there was the one note there that the guy said, "I hate who my creator hates." Here's the $1 million question: who the hell is your creator?
I don't know.
You're
This
like,
guy's
I'm sorry,
sick,
but
man.
I don't care what
Yeah.
religion you
Yeah.
profess belief in. None of them
Yeah.
say go kill this person or
No,
do this.
I know.
So, you kind of wonder, but now we won't get those answers because the two of them are no longer here as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
But
like
they had to take
what
them out.
goes
I mean,
through-
they had
Oh, no,
to.
they had no choice.
They had no choice.
They had no choice.
Yeah, they
And-
had to.
And unfortunately, like we were talking earlier, someone could belong to your faith, leave,
yeah.
and
Right.
then they'll
And go rogue.
unfortunately
Right.
always be connected
To that, right.
that because someone remembers, oh yeah,
He used to belong
he said
to,
years ago that he was Muslim, but then he was Christian.
But be
then
honest,
he
did
was
you
this, or, it's
did you
just too
think that
much.
these people were black? At first, I did.
I
I'm
didn't
not
know.
even sure.
I
Like
didn't-
I haven't seen like.
I'm be honest.
A
I thought they were
picture-
That's a
Arab.
good
I thought
question.
they would have
yeah,
been
me
Arab
too.
or something
me too.
like that.
Me too. Like the
That's a
last
good
thing I
question, 'cause
thought.
you-
The last thing I
You
thought
went
was
into
that
the
they
Jewish
was black.
community, like
But you,
Well, it's a black community.
right, but
Right.
It's
they
a
got
black
the-
community.
They moved there from
Right,
Brooklyn because
right,
they got
right,
priced out.
right.
But you kind of like, for real, dog.
I just didn't think it
Nah,
was.
it doesn't
I
add up.
I didn't
But
think
we
that. I
didn't
thought
think-
I thought they were like Middle Eastern
yeah.
or
just
I did.
assumed.
You know
Me
what?
too.
You know what I learned from when John Muhammad and Leroy Malvo.
I know. That's the first person I thought of. I was like, nobody
Anything
thought
is
the
possible
sniper. I know.
because when the DC snipers come around,
Yeah.
we were looking at all the others like this,
When they showed that
and the
guy,
dude
we were
right beside
like,
you,
"What?"
like he's right there, and he's
Right.
like, "Yeah, they looking at them. We're gonna let them go to the car. We're gonna pick them off."
It's
Nah,
just
I'ma wait till
not.
y'all
It's
go.
just not. That's just not like our
It's
MO.
not a natural occurrence.
Yeah, that's
Right.
not our MO.
Right,
But yeah, I don't. Whew, what a day, right?
But
What a
it
day.
makes you-
Yeah.
Makes
What a
you
day.
wonder what goes through a person's mind. And then, even then, let's moving into how angry we are sometimes.
I know.
And that was the
Everybody's
thing
so
that I
angry.
said.
I know.
You
You're
mad
right.
about everything.
You're right. You're
You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Queen-
And people are angry. People are like so angry. I
People
feel
are
like
upset.
I feel like in this country right now, I just never seen so much divisive. And I remember when Clinton was impeached, you know, and I mean, I lean Democrat, but even as Democrats, you're like, that was kind of messed up what he did. You know what I mean? It was the fact that he lied about
come
it.
on, Bill,
He
you
got
lied,
impeached
dog. Tell
because
the
he
truth.
lied about
Right.
it. It wasn't so much the act. It's like, okay, but he lied about it. So. But even as Democrats, you kind of like, yeah, that was kind of messy, man. Like it was really unnecessary to do what he did. But now it's like people are in some kind of alternate universe with what's the truth? What are the
Stranger
facts?
things, right.
And people are so angry that they can't even look at what is right in front of you. It's like you're so dug into your position that you can't, you know what I mean? Like you can't see the forest through the trees. Like you literally
it's a
can't pull
great-
back and say, "Hey, wait a minute, this is messed up, man."
And it's a great tactic, and they've learned to use it well.
Oh, they ain't
so
they
if
good
I
at
can
that?
get you in your feelings,
Yeah, they good,
and
man.
you focus on this right here.
Right.
Meanwhile,
Or divert.
50 different things are happening
Right.
right behind you, but you're so angry, you're focused, just that tunnel vision right there. And when you finally look around, it's like, when did that happen? Wait a minute, when did this happen? Oh, when you were in your feelings.
Well,
And
something
they've
you
learned
said.
that.
But the
that-
diversion
something
is their master at
Right.
diversion, and I will give Trump credit for this. He knows how to manipulate the media. He knows how to change the narrative. He knows how to flip it up and divert. Like he is a master at that. And I don't mean it as a compliment. It's just like he's good at that. You know, and he's got the whole Republican Party going, well, what about this? Well, what about that, man?
What
We ain't even
about it?
talking
It's
about
all
that.
terrible.
You know?
And you all just excuse it because a thief has never called another thief a thief.
Yeah, but
They never called anybody anything.
The other piece I was going to say, something you said about, you know, he was quoted as saying he hates, you know, who his creator hates. And now, to be fair, I'm not pushing this, but I'm getting to a point. In the Bible, there are passages that speak on that. But having said that, this is where, you know, those of us who profess a religion, you know, you need to be very careful of how you perceive any canonized book, be it Bible or Quran. And the reason I say that is because, and I've made this example a number of times, you know, you can't take everything first in the literal sense. Because, and I'm just going on record here, this is just me. I'm speaking for myself and not for any group that I'm affiliated with. If somebody were to show me full proof that, hey, look, none of this stuff in the Bible or the Torah or Quran, it never happened. Guess what? I'd be okay with that. I'd still believe in the Most High.
Right.
Because I've gotten to a point, and I think people should get to a point, that you are looking for what we like to say universal truths. You're trying to extract the moral of the lesson from allegory, from stories that are told, right? Did Moses part the Red Sea? Did it really happen? Was it a natural phenomenon? Did God? I don't know.
Nobody that witnessed it is here to tell you.
Right.
Well,
here's the other piece, and I've said this a number of times. And this is coming from a minister. I've said this. You can find just about many of the pharaohs who lived longer back in time than those who are in the Bible.
Yes.
But yet you can't find anyone from the Bible that you can't find their burial grounds.
You want to make somebody mad? Bring that point up right there.
But here's my point. But all of us can attest that we have all had some type of a Moses Exodus experience in our lives, right? Where your back has been up against the wall and the Most High has come out of nowhere.
Yeah. It's
Parted
the
the sea
analogy,
for you.
right.
So you have to look at where are you in these stories? How does this apply? How do I take, whether it happened or not, how does it apply to your day-to-day life now? You feel me?
Right.
But see, some people really get caught up on the surface level in the literal sense and thinking that, they slaughtered a goat every 8 days of the, well, guess what? That was then. And that may not, we don't know the accuracy of that. So what I'm saying is we got to be careful, man, and not become crazed in scripture. Listen, Jim Jones, not the rapper.
Not the rapper.
Jim Jones predicated on religion, on his doctrinal philosophy, and most of them were black people.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I listened. You know, there's a whole video,
a
audio
on it.
of him telling his congregants about, hey, look, they're going to come and kill us. We got to kill ourselves. Like, it goes on for a half hour. And there were some people that were trying to talk him out of it.
Right.
But he was taught, but again, religion, spirituality is not supposed to hurt you.
Right.
It's supposed to help you. And when it starts hurting you and it starts encroaching on the very moral fiber and
hurting other people.
And
because
and
that's
physically,
right.
You need to run as fast as you can from that.
Right.
That's just nuts. Now, on the flip side, if you feel revolution is necessary, that's something altogether different. And that's something altogether different. But and these are just my thoughts. These are my scattered thoughts. Nobody else's.
Please
So-
come with a plan
so-
before you try to grab everybody else and we're gonna do this.
Or just
How?
do
I don't
yourself,
know. We're
man. Just
gonna
do
it. There you go.
yourself. How about that?
There you
Just
go.
do yourself. You knew you weren't going to come out of that alive. You know what? Just do yourself.
Been
I
better
I,
off
I don't
just-
know. It's just really
Right.
sick, man. It's sick. And the type of weapons that they had too. These weren't handguns. That I'm not even
Oh,
talking
no,
about the
they
police.
had
I'm
some-
talking
they
about
had
what
some for
those.
real weapons.
Yeah, what
Right.
they had, which is another reason why I didn't think they was black. You know, but because I was like, this seems a little planned.
But
I'm
as
just
the-
saying,
as the
it's
story
When you
just
say
not
we
our
used to
MO.
freestyle
I'm
and you
just
just go in
saying.
there and be like, dog, I ran
Yeah.
out of bullets.
Oh,
Let me borrow some of
yeah,
yours.
yeah. No, I'm just saying it's just not like our MO. It's
Yeah.
not our MO. This is my now this is my thing. It's not our MO. What we do is we internalize, right? We take our frustrations and violence out amongst ourselves.
Right,
That is not our MO in this country.
right.
Have there been uprisings? Yes. But in general,
Not
that's
in a-
not,
We
yeah,
don't
that's
lead
not
those
quite
uprisings.
our MO in this
Right.
country. There's been far more violence inflicted upon us than the violence we inflict on society at large. It's just like not our MO. And the fact that it was even though it's gentrifying, it's still, because I did read this in the paper, they made a point in 2 articles that I read to say that it is a predominantly African American community that is becoming gentrified, but it is still predominantly black.
And that's one
You
of the-
know,
'cause
yeah.
Most of Jersey
And it's-
City
right.
is now,
Right. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
But,
just,
you know,
it's really,
to
it's
that
sad.
point-
And you know, I'm going to say this too.
Mm.
My condolences do go out to everyone who has lost their life, to people that were in that deli, and even that policeman.
Yes,
You know, like
yes.
he didn't deserve that. You know what I'm saying?
Not at
You
all.
coming in, you trying to do your job, and I know that. You know, I know they just want to come home. You know, I understand that. He went into a real live violent situation, you know, and this guy didn't come home.
Didn't deserve.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't
what-
deserve
what
that.
And unfortunately, sometimes when people get to a point where their feelings take over,
Mm-hmm.
and emotion now rules in place of logic,
Right.
you have these reactionary. They just jumped out like
Yeah.
no logically thinking.
Yeah, there was no
individual
reason. Yeah, there was no
would-
reason
what,
for
'cause
that, right?
At some point,
There's
when
no
logic
reason.
is there, you're like, damn, man, there's a whole lot of people out here on the street.
Right.
Like,
Right.
you know what? Let's
They
try
gave
this
like
tomorrow.
zero. Yeah, it was
You know
just
what? We're not
really.
gonna do this right now.
Yeah.
But
I
when
mean,
you just jump out and you say, okay, it's all or nothing.
yeah.
Now emotion is taking over, and the media is going to sell. They're not going to give you all of what's true and correct. They're going to add what they think is supposed
Fits
to
a
be in there
narrative. Yeah, they're
because
gonna.
they,
try to
already
fit
they
a
doing
fill
it.
the
narrative,
blanks in
right.
for
Already
you.
doing it.
Well,
You know.
I'm gonna be honest with you. When it didn't come out that when the ethnicity did not come out of the shooters immediately, because it didn't come out right away, and I was like, because I'm like,
Oh, they
maybe
had to
they're
go-
not Middle
they
Eastern,
had to
because
go
if they were,
digging
that would have
first.
came out immediately.
They went digging
But
first.
Yeah.
I was just like, right. They went, to me, I think they went digging for, now that we see a connection to something, you know what I mean?
Right.
Instead of just saying, because again, like I did not think that at
One
all.
of the
But
first articles
when I woke up this morning, the
they
story
got the picture,
is, yeah.
the DOC picture, and he got arrested a couple of times in Ohio.
Yeah, but
threatened to
still,
kill
I mean,
somebody.
that doesn't
So are
even.
you trying to establish a pattern of criminal
Yeah, but how do you
behavior
even
or
get
violent
from that,
behavior?
to there?
Yeah,
like
'cause they're
that's
saying he
just
might have-
crazy.
He might have killed somebody else.
Yeah, they said that
Yeah,
he
he
might have
might have
killed
Uber
somebody
driver,
else.
They were responsible for the
Yeah.
death of an Uber driver
Yeah.
or something like
But
that.
I did read this though about the girl, was that the girl that was with him, and that was the other thing, it was a girl, which that's not our MO either.
Right.
Females don't tend to do things like that. However, this guy had some kind of hold on that girl, because her neighbor was saying that, like, first of all, the guy moved in like a month, and
then
this
she
girl
started
had a
tripping.
drastic change in her behavior, her demeanor, like everything about her, like, changed. So It's just crazy. It's a sad story, and I'm really
really
it's just a
anxious to
sad
find
story.
out. I just want to hear more information, and in terms of like true motive and just. I mean, I know nothing justifies anything, but but I want to hear. I want to know. I'm just waiting for the facts to start. That's if we
if they have
ever
anything,
get the
right?
facts.
They're dead now,
That's
so
the other
you
piece.
can't even talk to them and say,
because they're gone.
Yeah, but they're
know
gonna
what
go.
happened,
But I
so.
mean, just like everything else,
Unless
how
they
they
left-
piece
they
it
left
together.
trails.
Because listen, people leave trails. We all leave trails.
Yeah.
Our phone, your phone,
It's a trail.
is a trail. Your phone might as well have literally your DNA on
I
it.
hope the student loan
Because
people are
literally,
not watching
can't
right
pull
now.
it
your
back.
phone, right, has everything about you. Even
Can't pull it back.
yeah, like if you've ever been on Facebook, any website, like all that stuff is
Footprints,
great, right? It's a
fingerprints.
It's a fingerprint. Exactly. That's definitely the word. And they got a whole profile on you.
Yeah.
They got a whole profile everywhere you've been, everywhere. I mean, this is this is life now, right?
Yeah.
This is life.
Yeah,
This is
and
life.
You know what? Oh, by October, make sure y'all get your real IDs.
I
You
got a
will not
real
be
ID.
able- you have
I
it?
got one.
You
Yeah,
got one already?
the license, right?
Yeah, with the little gold star that's on there.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
What you mean?
I just
All right.
renewed
Hold
mine.
on. What you talking about?
New Jersey has moved to a real ID, and everyone that has an ID, a driver's license
Yeah.
now, you have to make an appointment with motor vehicles to get
With
a real
that little
ID.
stuff
There's a
on it,
little
right?
gold star in that top right-hand corner to denote whether it's a real ID or it's still one of the older ones. And what they
Oh,
did
wow.
in
I
the
gotta
top,
look at mine.
in the top corner, about right here,
Mm-hmm.
you have
Oh.
a gold star.
You
And
have
that'll
one?
denote-
Not
yet.
hidden. It's like obvious.
You can see it.
Oh.
You can see it. And what
Nope,
I think what they've done is move to, you have to take all this ID to prove you are who you say you are.
I just did mine
And
actually not
then
too long ago. Yeah.
Get your real ID. So it's a way for them to make some money, but nationwide they're doing this. I guess
Right.
to counterfeit IDs, to combat
Somebody
against
already
that.
on that. Somebody already
you
on
got to
that.
take a passport. You got to take your ID if it's not expired, your social security card, your birth
Listen,
certificate,
Listen.
proof of address, pint of blood, your grandma, and
And
somebody
all that
else,
don't mean
you know what I
nothing
mean?
because let me tell you
There's
something.
one dude on a computer right now.
And listen, anybody can my job, like we do financing and stuff like that for people. Like nobody ever shows their license
right.
ever.
Nope. All I got to do
I
is
mean,
write
they
down my
flash
name.
it, but I'm
I
not
write my
looking
name
at
and
it
my
like
social
that. I just
security
need your
number.
social.
Right.
Basically, all I need is your social.
Yep. I give you 9
You
digits.
know,
You don't know whose
and that's
nine digits I
that.
gave you.
A social and an address.
Unless it comes back real odd. Like if I gave you my dad's address.
Right,
There's no way I
right,
was
right,
born in
right,
April of
right,
1938.
right. But
You know, that'll tip off.
yeah, but if you're doing something yourself, like the way it's at my job now, we turn that computer over to you, and you putting it in
Oh,
yourself.
well, then you can't even tell. It's
You
going
know?
to kick you back a
Right.
credit number,
I mean,
and then you're
yeah,
going to
it's
tell
like
me
it's crazy. It's
what rate I get.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work because I can't even tell you last time I showed my license. When last time you
It's been a
showed
minute.
yours? Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Last time somebody
I
even
haven't had
asked
to.
for it. Right,
That's
that's
when
what
I
I'm
went to go
saying.
get
So what
another
difference do it
license.
mean?
We went to South
What are we
Carolina.
doing? Right.
We went to South
What
Carolina.
are
The lady
we doing?
gave me the senior citizen discount. And I was looking at the thing. I was like, wait a minute. The price on the ticket is less than the price up there. Then I saw it.
I went to
Senior discount. I
oh
was
really?
like,
At the
thank you very
movies?
much. Appreciate
At the
you.
movies?
At the KFC.
At the KFC. Oh wow.
She said, you remind me of my grandfather.
Oh,
I was
my
like,
God.
Well, why don't you give me the chicken for free then? Look out for family, you know?
Oh my goodness, that's
help your
funny.
granddad out. Your granddad
Oh.
hungry. You know what I mean?
So what else is on the blue plate special? Do
You know
we
what?
want it? Do we want to talk about the impeachment? Do we want to talk about the other shooting, the UPS driver?
I don't want to
and
talk about any more shootings. I'm over the
That was a
shooting.
rough one.
Yeah, you know what?
What do we got?
When
There's
we
a lot
talk
of stuff
about-
out there.
Have you heard any backlash from the recent movies that came out?
Oh,
Queen
Yeah.
and Slim.
Harriet.
I did.
Harriet.
You know,
Yeah.
we just mad, man. We're mad for
No,
everything.
I know. I was
like,
going to continue on that theme, and then
Well,
people,
you know what?
yeah,
Yes.
people mad at Michael Vick again. It's like,
Just
y'all
mad.
just get over Michael Vick, man.
He killed a dog.
Oh God!
Did you see
we
Harriet?
get
But he
killed.
didn't. He
I saw
actually
Harriet.
didn't do it. Yeah,
Did you see
No,
Harriet?
I did. I saw Harriet.
No, you're right.
Well,
He
now,
didn't do it.
we'll
He
get
was
to
just
that.
kind of in.
No,
you know,
owned
he
the house.
owned it. Right.
He
right.
owned the house. His cousin
property,
gets
right,
busted
right.
for
His
the
cousin gave him
drugs.
up.
Right,
It was
right.
like, yo, I'll tell y'all something about my cousin.
Yeah.
Y'all know my
and
cousin,
it was
right?
weed.
Right.
He got
right.
stopped
Right.
with weed.
Go to jail for the weed, dog.
Yeah.
But he ended up having to serve that time. So now people are still mad. Just mad for
Only
no damn
some
reason.
people
But-
still mad because
But the NFL said,
we ain't mad.
y'all can be mad. We still going to
Yeah,
honor him
I,
because
Michael Vick,
he did his
come
thing on the football
exactly,
field.
right? He did
And
do
you
his thing on the
cannot
football.
deny
You
that.
can't deny that. And remember when Michael Vick was a black quarterback, it wasn't as many black quarterbacks
Not
when
at
Michael
all.
Vick stepped on that field,
You're correct.
right?
You're correct. So now they mad about that.
They
Then,
mad.
you asked about Harriet.
Well,
I s-
there
I saw
there is a
I
concern.
liked
All
Harriet.
right. Well,
There is
But
a
I'm gonna tell you
concern.
something. I
There's a concern
do
I have.
have some critical review of it.
It was something
Not
that
'cause I'm
could-
mad.
that show could have been played on the Lifetime channel.
Thank you.
That movie
Oh my
could
God,
have been-
I was literally going
That
to
was
say
a
that could have been a
Lifetime- that was a-
Lifetime movie.
that was a Lifetime
It was
production.
lightweight, right?
It was
It was
very
lightweight.
lightweight.
Yep.
Also, now here's the thing. I think this caused a big furor, and I think rightfully so. But I still think they should have went and saw it. But okay, we know to argue that there could have never been black slave catchers.
There were
is a,
black
is a
slaves.
There
moot
had
point.
to
Right,
be.
there
'cause
had to
no
be.
That's what I'm
way.
saying. It's
There
a
had to
moot
be.
point.
No
Right.
way they would have
We,
caught a slave.
we
Right.
know that.
Right.
But in her writings, she never spoke of that.
No.
She never talked about that.
No, she never even
She-
really talked about the Underground Railroad because
Right.
at the
Time,
time,
it was still active.
it was still active,
It was
just
still
like
active.
Frederick Douglass.
But she
when,
never
when you
mentioned
read
that.
his
Yeah, he
autobiography,
tells you.
he never talks about
At the
it.
end of his first
exactly,
book,
right.
he says at the
Right.
end of his first book,
He
he
can't
says
give nothing
he
away.
says I would tell you how I escaped,
Right.
but because I'm still
There's
Yeah, I
other
can't
yep,
give up that
yep,
good
and there's
information.
other people
Maybe I'll
using
tell
that
you in a second.
method, right?
But my point
right,
is,
right.
for them to lift this brother up and make him, you know, the this crazed Negro. And made him like one of the main.
He wasn't a main
characters.
character. He wasn't a main
Yeah,
character.
I think he was.
No,
Well,
I don't think he was.
I
That
believe
guy
he was.
on the screen. Not I didn't think he was a main character.
I
No,
think the
but-
reason why I say he was
Go
the main
ahead.
character.
Okay.
Who did most of for the killings? Who did the killings? Think about it.
The same way white folks now get us to kill each other.
Right, but what I'm saying
Ain't
is
nothing different.
the murders that took place in the movie, they were done by him.
Yeah, you think the white man was gonna kill him?
And so my whole point is why
he
put
wasn't.
a fixture
I don't
in
think.
the
Yeah,
but
I
why
agree
put
with
a
you.
why
That
put a
character didn't
fixture
need
in
to
a
be
movie
there. Right. The
when
character,
it didn't need to be
Yeah,
there?
I agree. The
that
character.
was one.
Okay, go ahead.
That was
we
one
on the
thing
same
that-
page with
yeah,
that
that
because I
was
felt
one
like I
thing.
didn't see
It
why
just
he
wasn't
needed.
necessary.
Why
But
was
you
the
had to
character
add-
right? He wasn't
wasn't
necessary.
necessary.
You're
You
right.
had to add something in there for them to run from because the dude that was the slave owner's son, I'm not running from that dude.
Well,
No, well,
here's the other piece.
I'm not running
I mean,
from
but
him.
she was running
Or
from
the two-
slavery. She
Right,
was running
but
from
at the same time,
slavery.
like those dudes, like at that one point when they got to the bridge crossing, and all 40 white guys out there,
Right,
like,
right.
yeah, you look like so and so,
Yeah,
come
yeah,
on
yeah,
through.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then they were like, you don't even have a daughter.
Right,
Like,
right.
y'all are dumb.
Yeah,
We
and
coulda
that
all-
was kind of
And
like
my brain says,
unbelievable.
My
Yeah,
brain
that was
says,
to me.
but
That
you
could
know
have been
what?
more
That was
hardcore.
weird.
There was no way
Yeah.
they would have caught a slave because they were not able to decipher the songs. They were not able to decipher the patterns and the hairstyles and things like that. Somebody had to tell them.
I think that too, but I also think that the network that made up that Underground Railroad.
You talking about the TV show?
No, I'm just
Oh,
talking
you
about.
talking
No,
about
I'm talking
the-
about the network of hiding places and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that
Well, the guy in the movie.
They
real quick, the guy
did
in the
an
movie,
excellent. I mean,
the guy that she met. When
right,
she got to
right,
Philadelphia,
right.
He's considered the father of the Underground
Right.
Railroad.
So
Wait,
I
Will
think
Smith.
that the
Yeah.
way that they, I can't even really say put that because it must have been moving all the time because you can't do the same thing twice. You know what I mean? Not too many
Right, right.
times
Yeah,
because
yeah.
people would get hip to it. Or what if somebody got caught? Then they're going to spill the beans on, well, we were, not that they even would have known what state they would have been in, all the time because of the travel. But to me, the way that was put together, I don't know. Like, I think that was a mystery to white folks. And I think that's what like drove them insane because they couldn't figure it out. They couldn't figure it out. They knew that slaves were escaping. They knew that there was this underground network that they were getting involved in. Like once they left the plantation or wherever they went, and if they got hooked up with somebody in that network, that underground railroad, there's a good chance that they were going to get, to wherever they needed to get to. And I think that like infuriated them.
It infuriated them
and because they couldn't
were
figure it
not,
out. Because who could you trust? You couldn't trust everybody. The Quakers were part of that network. When you think of even the path that, and I'm gonna let you finish your point because me and you are so on the same page. Because I thought it was like real lightweight. I thought that, but the other thing is that there's not a lot written about Harriet Tubman. So you had to fill in the blanks, and I get that part. But also, the Underground Railroad, when you look at like the paths of some of these people, like how they would go to Ohio, somehow everybody would end up in Ohio because once you cross that Ohio River, you're in Pennsylvania. That whole network is amazing. It's mind-boggling to think that you doing this on foot. You're doing it on foot.
When we left Rochester a couple of years ago on our way back here,
That's a 7-hour ride.
and my wife was driving, and I was looking out the
7
window, and I
hours.
said,
We ran through this
they
barefooted.
ran through all of this
Yep.
From the
with
deep south.
no
going up
shoes, all the way to Rochester,
to Canada.
Well, I think once they got into Pennsylvania, though, because Pennsylvania is a free state, right? Once they get into Pennsylvania, they don't have to it's not like they're barefoot running through the woods and all that. They didn't have to stay there, but they could at least be open.
From Pennsylvania to Canada?
Yeah, but at that point,
But
I think
understand,
at
the
that
laws,
point, it
those-
doesn't necessarily mean that they had to walk from Pennsylvania into Canada. At that point, now you have a community of people that are there, right? It's safer to help you.
But then they
Okay,
changed
but
the
coming
law
from
that
the
said
South,
wherever they
yeah,
catch 'em,
exactly.
right,
Then
you
they
can take
changed the
'em back into
Fugitive
slavery.
Slave Act,
Right.
right? But once you got into Pennsylvania, now you're a little bit more, and
he said
there's a
something.
network. What's his name? William Garrison.
He said
was
something
based
key.
in right.
Well, not him, but if you remember when she walked up to the guy that was selling apples off of his cart.
Right.
He
Act
said,
like you belong
He
here.
said,
Act like you belong,
which
right.
indicated like, okay, you safe,
They about
but
to
act
sniff
like
you
Act
out.
like you
right,
belong.
Right.
Right.
Don't because
Right,
you can
right,
still
right.
get got.
Right.
As a matter of fact, there's a story about a slave who escaped he escaped for a good while, and he was in Boston, and his slave master, they came back and got him.
Yeah,
and drug him
yeah,
through
but
the
that's the
streets.
fugitive. Yeah, that was the Fugitive Slave
still
Act,
little-
right?
But now,
Right.
the other part, there was I personally, you know what, my thing was, it could have been done on TV. It just wasn't. I don't think it was even.
I don't
even think it was a good movie.
Wonder.
wasn't a
I
good
didn't want to.
movie.
You
I
you
liked
don't want to say that, but it's like
It
I
wasn't
didn't.
a
I
good
wasn't
movie.
mad about it, but I was like, this was not a
You
good
talking about
movie.
Harriet Tubman, you
Yeah, this was not a good movie. Even that series Underground was an excellent series.
And then they cut it off.
Right, I know, but I'm saying, but the way,
Wonder
like the
why.
wit that they used, it was smart. It was
Listen.
it was sharp. This was not. It wasn't
wonder
sharp.
why
It
they
wasn't
cut it
smart.
off.
One of the most brutal slave
It
movies
just
I have ever
wasn't.
seen. That I think you could have told it in a certain light, and it wasn't even a true slave story. Well, at least most of it wasn't. Was Beloved. Beloved
Yeah.
was brutal to watch. There were
Right.
parts that were brutal, and I only bring that up because Harriet Tubman. This is a real life. You know, they didn't even really focus too much even on her exploits of the people, of leading these people. You know, just once in a while, like, you know, they would just show her. They would have shots. Of her
Yeah,
coming
and
back,
I felt like,
bringing
I
more
agree with you.
people.
I agree that like
come on,
they
man.
could have
We
like
gotta-
had a little more fit, because I'm like, there must have been
That's where you
traumatic,
spend the time
right?
at.
That must have been really
You got women with
traumatic,
children,
right? And
old
how about
women.
how about the girl carrying a baby like this? I'm like,
Hey,
nobody's
come
carrying
on,
that
man.
baby
You know
like
what?
that.
You gotta-
I'm like, she would have
She had
wrapped
it
that
straddled
baby up,
on her
and
back,
But-
and
yeah.
I was with me and my
I
girlfriend
don't
was
mean no
like,
harm.
who's carrying the baby like that?
I know one thing, and this is just me. I'd have got to Philadelphia, I ain't coming back.
No,
Like,
well, yeah.
but she came back.
She came back to get her
multiple
family
times.
because she came back to
You
get
know
her
what I mean?
family,
And-
right?
And it was
Right.
like,
Right. She
was
came back
like,
to get her family first,
you know, like,
right?
okay. And then after that, you standing in the trees and you hit the song.
But you know,
and
the
the slaves
fact
was
that-
like, yo, I'm out.
It's amazing though, the fact that she not only did she go back as many times as she did,
she
but to
never lost
successfully, to successfully
lost one.
continue to do that is pretty damn amazing.
I don't mean no
man.
harm. She show up, I'm going too.
Pretty
She ain't
damn
lose nobody. She
amazing.
ain't lose
And they never
nobody.
caught her. And they never caught her.
No.
You know, like that's pretty darn. And this is from a woman that couldn't read.
A little bitty
She
woman.
couldn't read.
Queen Mother Harriet.
You
She was
know,
serious.
so
Y'all gonna-
I
y'all
thought
gonna
I
follow
think
me.
that but I thought the movie could have been done like a lot. But I mean, we've seen
I want to
gangster
see
movies
somebody.
put
I want to
more
see somebody else
more
put that
depth.
movie together.
Yeah, there's these gangster
What
movies
about-
that have more depth, like the Godfather, that thing with
Godfather Harlem.
No, yeah, ain't that good?
I love
With
it.
Forrest Whitaker?
I
Yeah,
love
that's real good. But yeah, I agree with you. It could have been a Lifetime movie. This could have been.
Right.
They could have showed that in school.
What about
It
Queen
It
and
wasn't
Slim?
really like a. I didn't see that yet.
I
You
did.
gotta see it.
Queen
Okay.
and, to me, Queen and Slim was a dope movie.
Yes,
Okay.
it was.
It was almost like
Yes,
a
it was.
counterculture type of Love Jones.
Bonnie and
in a way.
Clyde kind of thing.
Not a Bonnie and
Oh,
Clyde
okay.
though. Not a.
Okay.
And
No, not
it's
like
very
that.
important to point that out. It's not like a Bonnie
Okay.
and Clyde.
Oh,
The-
because Bonnie
the
and Clyde
first
were
part-
against, like a Thelma and
Right.
Louise, like where Thelma and Louise were like running from
Wrongfully
something but righteous,
something
right? It
right,
was a righteous
yeah.
kind of thing, right?
It was. You know what I liked about that movie? The overarching message I got from that movie, without telling it for those who haven't seen it yet,
Mm-hmm.
is it showed black solidarity. Like there was this
And-
light. It was a light message of like. Like yeah, we know we
Right,
got you.
right.
Don't worry
You're
about
good.
it. You
Don't
good
worry
with
about
us.
it.
You know, I mean,
Except
at
for
the
that
end.
one dude.
Because and they right.
But that's us though.
But that
That's-
is us.
that's
yes.
us. That's
but
like-
that is us.
And
Just
when
like
people
right,
got
that is
mad
us.
and was like, you know, why did it have to be like that? I'm like, after I saw the
'Cause
movie,
that's-
I was like, shit, that is us.
Yeah.
That's all of us. All the ones you saw is someone we know from each one of those different parts.
Yeah. And
But
I
it was
think
a good movie.
too, like when the proverbial ish hits the fan, I do think as black people we do stick together. You know, I mean, yeah, is it always? Is it one? Yeah, is it
There
a few?
are some,
Yeah,
there are
but
some
we
that
do.
we need to say,
no
hey,
matter
look,
what,
everybody-
It's like, no
everybody
matter
can't
what,
come.
Right? Everybody can't come, but I think no
And-
matter what,
but
we like.
that's one of the
okay,
things that kind of
whatever.
has held us a little
But-
bit. We want everybody to come, and then it's like, no, leave him. Trust me,
Right.
man.
Yeah.
He's no good. Stay right there. We'll be right back. And they were like, somebody else would say, no, he has to come along too. And it's like, no, he gonna hold us up. Like
yeah.
that's the one
I thought it
Harriet
was-
would have shot.
Yeah,
It was dope because you know what you're used to seeing that in movies of the past, black slave movies where black people are really looking out for each other. I haven't seen that as of recent. Like I haven't seen it where it's
No.
a setting where it can be displayed that we're
Yeah.
looking out for
Right,
each other. Like I haven't
right.
seen that
I
in a
think
while.
that's what made
And
the
it was-
film
it was
extraordinary.
pretty-
Yeah, I read
that's-
the
I was
reviews
like,
and they were
okay.
like, it's
Okay.
you rarely see that, you rarely see black life portrayed in that fashion.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and that was like one of the
'Cause most of the
reviews I
time
read, and I
there's
do
some
want to
stuff that
see it.
doesn't-
Yeah, it's,
Go see it is an excellent movie.
all right. I'm gonna go.
And the
I am
soundtrack
gonna
is
see it.
dope.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Soundtrack is
yeah.
dope. And the sister, good lord. Yo, when she cut them braids, I was like, whoa.
So now you look like something.
Now, but here's another piece, though. I got to bring this up that people were upset about. So it's her. You have the sister that played Harriet.
Mm-hmm.
There were two others that played like these pivotal kind of like anti-establishment type of black characters.
Okay.
And then in real life, they have them all with their better halves, and they're all white. So people were like, some people were looking like, what's going on with this?
But is that
You
girl
know what?
Cynthia? I don't think she's with
Which one?
the one that played Harriet,
Cynthia
the
Erivo.
one from this color purple.
Yeah, well,
She got it. I don't
unless
think
she was
so.
just with the guy in
Yeah,
the
she might
shot.
have just been.
You
Yeah,
know,
I don't
I
think she's with anybody.
I look at it like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm married to a strong black woman, but it ain't for everybody. Some people like others. Some people like Asian. Some people like this. You like what you like.
Yeah. I
You
think
love
like
what you love.
like.
It
Yeah.
is what it is. Like,
Yeah.
I can't get mad because they chose. That's who they chose.
I also
So
don't think
now
it
if
make
that
you any
person
less
makes
black
you-
either.
right, it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't make you any less black.
You love who you love,
Right.
and that's it.
Well,
Yeah.
You know what I
listen,
mean?
I can't
Like,
argue.
for me.
I can't argue. I can't tell a person who they should love, but I
Right.
do feel there's a compromise there. I personally feel that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. You know, take Harry Belafonte, right? He's done a lot for
Right.
his people.
Right. He's married to a white woman.
Exactly.
And he been married to her for a
that's
long
exactly why I'm
time.
bringing him up.
Yeah.
But
100
I still,
years.
You
but-
know, I met
but-
him. He was a client of mine.
Yeah, but now
Yeah.
I think
I would've
there
stayed
could be an
inside. I
argument
would still be living there.
that sometimes folks can still be compromised.
No, well, let me
I
say
feel
this.
that way.
Let me
You know
say
what?
this.
I
Only
believe
because
that.
I met him
I believe
and
that.
I've been in his home. Let me say this. I've been in
Yeah,
this
there are
man's
exceptions
home.
to the
Right.
rule.
I
There
have
are
been in this
exceptions.
man's home, and when you walk
Yeah, you think you're in Africa probably.
through this man's home, it is like walking through what is that move? The African American Museum, the Smithsonian. It is like walking through there. This guy has pictures of himself with people you wouldn't even like. He has a picture with himself and John F. Kennedy. Like, who the heck has a picture with them and JFK, right? But then he has pictures of himself with Mandela. He has pictures of himself with, like, you know, all kinds of people. I think Martin Luther King. Like, who has a picture of themselves with Martin Luther King,
Ain't many.
right?
There's not many.
Not many people,
Not many at
exactly.
all.
And I'm not talking about the picture of Martin Luther
he's
King.
with him.
I'm
Like
talking about
him,
being
right.
with
Boy,
him,
right.
right?
That was his
So,
guy, yeah.
you know, so I don't think that, and that's his
Well, that's
second
why I brought
marriage
him up.
too. Yeah, that's his
why I brought
second
him up.
marriage.
But
So
I'm
I don't
just
think
saying-
it makes you like any less black. I think at some point you're gonna love who you love. People, you know,
Yeah.
you're gonna
Well,
love who you love.
I guess that's
You
another
know.
topic. For
Yeah,
another,
that's another
I
topic.
have strong feelings about that. I believe in black love wholeheartedly,
I mean, I believe in black love too. I don't
and
say
I believe,
I don't.
and I believe,
But
that,
I believe in I believe in the uplift of the black woman. Now I'm to keep it real.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna say I don't care who marry her, but I do believe in
Well,
I guess
uplifting
I
of the
look
black
at it
woman.
like,
You know,
my mama was a black woman, a strong one.
Mm-hmm.
I married her. I don't care what y'all marry. I don't care what you marry. I got
Right.
mine. I'm good.
like it
Okay.
It's
take
just my-
it take a
my
special
take
man.
on
It
that,
take a
like-
special man to be married to a black woman.
And you got to
Right.
deal with everything.
And some black men don't
And you got to
want-
be able
don't
to
want us.
accept when
Right.
you wrong, because
Right.
sisters call you on your BS.
Right. That's
then
what I'm
and
saying.
there.
It take a
You know
special
what I mean?
kind of man to be
So
married to a
if
black
you can't
woman.
handle that,
Right.
then yeah, maybe it's for
Right.
you to
Maybe
go
that's not
somewhere
for you.
where
Right.
you'll be catered to.
Maybe that ain't for
like,
you.
know,
Right.
where I want something to eat. Okay, baby, what do you want to eat? And they go into the kitchen. You go in there with a sister and be like, yo, I want something to eat. They be like, yo, what you bring? You know what I mean? And I need something that's going to talk back to me
Yeah.
to keep me in check.
I
Because
think-
I think crazy sometimes. You know what I mean?
I think
So,
it's a
you know.
I think it's a partnership. I think that
It
black
is.
men and black women, I think historically in this country, and this actually is a good conversation. The protection of the black woman in this country has not been there.
True.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I think that kind of comes down and
They
comes
don't view
down
it
and
as
it
a
comes
thing of
down.
importance.
Right.
Not-
and
well,
and
not-
as a black
not
woman,
all,
no,
but
but as a
some.
black, we talking about Sister Harriet, right?
Right.
Yeah, look
She
what her
said-
husband did.
Exactly, look
She
what her
was
husband
devastated.
did. Right, but you know what? She pulled her fucking shit together, and she said, "I gotta do what I gotta
But
do."
she said, "All right, well, I'm gonna leave you right here. Now I came
Or-
back for you, but since you got somebody else, you
Right.
stay.
Or
with
how
me."
many times she must have taken and see, I think they could have delved into this a little bit more, because even though she was taking people, at some point families must have been, either they were separated already, trying to reunite, or this one is coming and that one's not coming because, maybe they can't make it.
Well, one of her
you know
sisters.
exactly one of her
sisters,
sisters,
yeah.
right?
She didn't want. She didn't want to go.
That, unfortunately, that's the history of
It's being torn
just
apart.
being torn apart in this country, and the protection of the black woman has just not, it's just not been there.
Yeah.
It's just not been there. So I guess
There's
it's like
a-
we've
yeah, there's a
evolved to the
long
place where
history,
we've
yeah.
learned to depend on ourselves, and I'm not
Yeah.
saying that in a way that
No, it's
like
true.
we're
It's
we're
true.
not a man. Nobody wants to be a man, all right? But we have learned that
It's true.
it's innate in us
I
to
give
like
y'all
depend
credit,
on
'cause
ourselves.
if we had to
It's
have
innate in
babies,
us. It's not
this world
really
would be over.
yeah.
Well, you know
we're
what?
not that
Y'all are,
dependent.
You know
but,
what?
But
You
y'all
know,
are strong.
we're
and
not.
Y'all have a strength that we don't have.
And there is an inner strength there. I read an article, and I'm gonna leave it
Mm-hmm.
at this, about children being raised in single parent homes,
Okay.
and this professor was saying that in her research, now peep this, in her research, she found that black children respond differently to trauma than white children. That black children are the way that they deal with it is in a more positive way than white. Like, in other words, black kids don't crumble.
We built different.
don't crumble.
Talking about Joy
They
DeGruy?
don't crumble.
We
It's
built
coming from
different.
Joy DeGruy.
No,
Oh,
it's another woman. But they don't crumble.
Right.
Like, black children don't crumble. And
I can speak
and
to
that's
that.
something,
My own
exactly, that's what I'm
upcoming,
saying.
yeah.
And so we respond differently.
Yeah.
The same thing with the black woman, just in general, black children do. But
Respond
imagine a black
differently,
woman.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So we just built different,
Well, I was
right?
gonna-
We
I was
built
gonna
different. It
say-
take a special man to be with a black woman, right?
I was gonna say that first of all, God rest the memory of Brother Keith Muhammad. And when he was a barber for many years in Plainfield, and he used to cut hair. And while he cut hair, he would teach. And one thing he said that always, stuck with me, talking about what we're talking about now, what helped to make up the black woman that we know of today.
Yes.
And
the
part of who
survival,
she is,
the survival of our race,
part of
depending
who
on
she
that. Yep.
is based off
Okay,
of
some of it is.
survival
Yep.
of her race.
Yep.
It was a survival tactic to make her son docile so he could live during slavery. Like, not to have a revolutionary type of mind. Of course, you
Right.
have exceptions to the rule, but not to have this rebellious. It was for his best, and he painted this
And it's
picture.
not
and he
weakness
said,
at all.
No, it's not
It's
weakness.
not
That's the
weakness.
smartest
so
thing
Not-
you can
right,
do
like,
right
right,
there.
right. It,
you
wa-
know,
it wasn't a
in
weakness,
those
right?
slave huts, everybody. So you can imagine, in walks the master to do with her what he will, and here she is while he's having his way with her. At the same time, she's telling her baby, "I'm all right. It's gonna be all right. Go to sleep, whatever."
Right.
You feel me?
Trying to protect
so
him,
so
right.
that was a
Ooh-wee.
protective measure, and I
Yeah,
think it carried on.
Yeah.
It carried on
It
all
did.
the way up
Has
until
to.
now.
Remember-
And one more
Go
thing,
ahead.
and I forget who said this. I want to say Joy DeGruy actually said this. When we were let go, I'm not even gonna say free, but when we were let go, she said, think about this. It was either her or somebody else. She said, think about this. There was no counseling. You let
No,
Right.
bye.
people who are traumatized.
Right.
You're free.
We're done.
So the thing is, there was never, we were never given as men. If you've gone through the prison system, and let's say you had your manhood taken from you, there are things that are set up now. When you come out, you can go through some counseling and get help and to put your pieces back together.
Right.
There was none of that. So there was no template that we could look to as men and women to say, okay, what is it really to be a black man and black woman?
Right.
It was, we just had to figure it out.
Right.
So that's yeah. What were you gonna say? You were gonna say something.
I was gonna say, when you were talking about like the survival, and I agree with you. I don't look at it as a weakness. First of all, I don't even fall for, when people are like, still have that slave mentality. Like, wait a minute, do you think these people were freaking stupid? They weren't stupid.
They taught themselves how to read,
but they also
built a whole entire country.
I think also it's like, do you not really think? Do you look at somebody like Harriet Tubman?
Right.
Okay, she might have been the most famous, but do you think that most slaves thought, hey, this is cool, this is right, I want to be this? No. At some point, just like with her sister, maybe she had children. Maybe she didn't want to leave her children. She didn't want to leave her children. Who could fault a woman for that? Who could fault a woman for that? But I was going to say this, and this was like the fictional. So, because I used to watch that show Underground. I thought it was awesome.
I did too.
And
I
remember,
was hurt when they
me
just
too. I was too.
it.
But remember, I don't know if you remember this episode, but it was okay. So she had the little boy, right? That was the son. I can't remember the mother's name, but she had the little boy. That was the son. It was the master's son, I think. And when he was little, he used to play with the son, with the
master's son.
Yeah, I hate saying master, but with the slave owner's son, they were like buddies, best friends, so to speak. But then that point comes when I forget. I think the little boy did something, and as punishment, he was like, he's going out to the fields now. He moved him from the house to the fields.
Right.
But remember, she like sewed those rocks in his cotton sack so that he would never be like short
to weigh it down
for the weigh-in. And I'm like, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like that's black people for you.
And you gotta be dumb to realize it ain't
that is us.
Every day, like, dang, he been picking his ass off. And
but
you never figured it out.
He had a weight limit for his age,
right.
For his size and his age, and she always made sure,
you put enough
that
rocks in there to come out the correct weight.
Well, he was picking something,
not knowing how to measure,
right,
by using the weight. So,
but she probably knew how much he could pick. And was like, all right, right. Like, okay, now I know he only going to be able to do about whatever, 10 pounds of cotton. So, and they're going to want him to have 25 or whatever it is. And she sewed them rocks in there. And I'm like, you know what? That's black people. That's black people. That's smart. That's the smart stuff we did.
There's
that's how we survived.
Letters. I know in one of my African studies courses, we spent most of the time focusing on letters that were written by slaves.
Yeah, I've read those.
And
wow.
Even and to your point, there were many in those letters, they were begging to come back. Only because
that's what they were used to.
They had nothing. Right. They tried to venture out and they couldn't find anybody. They didn't know what to do. Many of them were homeless. Many of them were running around. So they were scared and they begged to come back. I only point that out because, and I understand, I'm not knocking them when I say this, but that in a sense is, and that just speaks to a portion, not all slaves, but that's a slave mentality when this is what you know. And it's to, listen,
because you're a slave, right?
It's the elephant chained to the fence theory.
You're a slave to that system, but
it's all you know.
Right, and then you're hungry. When you get hungry,
it's all you know. You get desperate.
What are they going to do? Go into a restaurant?
Yeah, so
they didn't have any choices.
They were begging to come back, and I found that astounding.
I don't think that was like. I think there may have been some, but I think in general, when they talk about because some black people did stay in the South, a lot of them did, but then there was this thing called the Great Migration, where people were leaving the South in droves because the economic opportunities were not there for them. I think I think with African Americans just trying to stick together amongst ourselves so that we could survive, even no matter how. I mean, we know it wasn't equal. It wasn't even equal in the North either. But our survival was based on. I guess our survival was based on our unity.
But you know what?
Like
The
it
good
was
thing
us
that came, the good
being
thing
unified,
that, the good
you
thing
know?
that came out of that were, and shout out to my man House Rasul when we go back and forth, and he always says, "Oh, you always bringing up what used to be," and I'm like, "Yeah, but it's noteworthy to be brought up." To your point, Missy, about the survival, what came out of that is you had not just Rosewood and Black Wall Street, but you had free slave towns peppered throughout the United States
right.
that were, most of those towns were even better than their
Right.
neighbors who
Right.
were white.
Right.
And so
Right.
where they set up their own banking systems, they had their own social security systems. Wilmington, North Carolina, that's a black town of many firsts.
Right.
With bus companies, cab companies.
I think Eatonville, Florida, too, was a big
it was
like black,
booming.
right,
Yeah, they had
black
movie
community.
theater. And then let's not forget during blacks who stayed in the South, you had, I guess, the highest population of black congressmen and senators at the time.
Well, the first
before,
black congressman came from the South.
Right.
I think came from either Tennessee or Georgia. I can't remember, or South Carolina. South Carolina, right?
So,
but yeah, they came from the
of-
South because the population was concentrated there. So when it
Right.
came time to vote, they had more of the vote.
We had more of the
so,
vote.
Right.
So, I mean, and I only bring that up, and I would always bring this up to Rasul, that we are fully capable of functioning and running, sufficient. Now, I'm not talking about what we've seen in our lifetime, but I'm saying when left to our own devices, when there's a need or there's an incentive for survival, we have shown this. That Dr. Claude Anderson, I bring him up a lot. This is a gentleman who used to work for the Jimmy Carter administration, and he talks about power economics. He talks about reparations, but he has like these levels of plans of what to do and how to build up. And he made a very significant statement. He said, what you have now, you have black towns, but you no longer have black communities, and there's a difference. And he said the black communities pretty much died out in the 70s. So now all you have are just black towns, but he talked about how, the money and how it circulates and all this stuff. And I say that because, when you talk about the slaves and the pulling together and the closing of ranks, that was the fruit it bared of these self-sufficient, self-governing, thriving towns, these cities that.
Yeah,
that
also
came
though
out
they
of
didn't
that.
have a choice.
And
It was
right.
necessity.
That's
right?
what I'm saying.
It
This
was necessity.
this incentive
Right.
of survival.
Right.
So
It was necessity. Right.
It's something to reflect on, because for some reason we can't seem to do that.
We're
now.
going to figure it out
Right,
one
'cause
day.
it's
We've
not a
arrived, and
necessity.
now we've
It's not a
talked about
necessity. That's why.
Eatonville,
Right.
Florida, also the home of Zora Neale
Zora Neale,
Hurston.
yeah.
Zora
That's
Neale
how. That's how I know about it.
What did
Right.
she make when their
She was an
eyes-
author.
Eyes are watching
Yeah,
God.
when their eyes are watching God.
And then a little known fact, Jersey-wise, Thomas Mundy Peterson was the first black person to vote in an election under the new provisions of the 15th Amendment, March 31st, 1870.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the
So
way,
it's
New
history
Jersey,
all around.
New Jersey was one of the last states in the union to give
ratify,
up to relinquish slavery.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I always tell people, especially my cousins in the South,
The North ain't free.
I'm like, listen, Jersey they are racist,
And-
especially in
Racist,
North
yeah,
North
because
Jersey.
This
Good
is
Lord.
the institutional racism. This is like
Yeah.
the systemic
I don't know though.
racism.
You go down to South Jersey, like
Them
down
South
there,
Jersey, yeah,
they
no,
still
yeah,
got
I'm
the
not-
flags flying up on the trees, Jack. So
especially,
you know, like
especially out there in the pine.
yeah, man.
Yeah, bro.
Be careful going out there,
Gloucester
people.
County. Shout out to Gloucester County. Hey man, listen,
It's
Driving While
time.
Black started right here at on the New Jersey Turnpike. Okay,
And it's DUI time, y'all. So be careful.
Yeah.
Please don't get your
Yeah,
ticket because
this
they're out
guy,
there waiting for you.
he's up on that Hennessy.
Hiram Rebels was the first black member of Congress, and he was from South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a good show today, man.
All right.
So
very
listen,
good.
yeah, we got to wrap this up. Wish we could talk longer. Before we close, well, let's let's see what's going on. What do we have
Ladies
going
fir-
on?
ladies first.
Miss E, you want to give the next date for
You
the
know
show?
what?
or
That's a
I
good
would.
question.
Yeah, here you go.
So
Look,
That's
here
a
you
good
go.
question. You got 2 dates.
Is
26.
the day after
The
Christmas.
day after Christmas,
The day
y'all.
after Christmas. We will see y'all the day after Christmas. December 26th, 7 p.m.
All right, the day after baby Jesus' birthday,
Oh, wow. Okay.
allegedly. All
The
right.
after party, right?
Geronimo, the
You
sixth
know
man, what
what?
you got going on, brother?
I ain't got nothing going on. Y'all have an outstanding week and a great, even greater weekend. But when you walk outside your front door, it's showtime and the world is your stage.
All
Just
right.
make sure that people are not watching the rehearsal. With that being said, I'm out. See y'all in 2 weeks.
All right. Listen, I want to first shout out the BKS1 family. Shout out to the General Storm Norm. Salute.
Salute.
And I want to thank everybody and have a blessed week and have a productive end of the year going into the new year. All right. See you on the other side.
We see
Okay.
y'all.
Well, I'll see you just before the other side.
Yeah, before the other side.
right.
Yes, please.
All right. Later. Wow. Hey, Norm, how we get out of here, brother?